This is Captain's Log with your host, Captain Mark Gray. Welcome aboard.
You're out in the ocean in 25-foot seas and gale winds. Your life is in danger. Find out about the men who risk their lives every day to save yours and how you may have avoided that situation. Next on Captain's Log. Our guest is Master Chief Ken Fish, United States Coast Guard. Give us a brief boating history, if you would, personal boating history.
Certainly. I've been in the Coast Guard for 19 years. I've served aboard several Coast Guard cutters, ships. I've served at 5 search and rescue stations, 2 of which I've been officer in charge, dealing with search and rescue and law enforcement. I was supervisor of a boating safety detachment, which dealt primarily with boating safety regulations and educating the public, and I'm currently officer in charge of the Coast Guard cutter Point Carew, which is a 82-foot patrol boat. Our primary mission is law enforcement and search and rescue.
So we would call you the captain of that?
In civilian terms.
Boat. Master Chief. Could you give us a brief history of the Coast Guard? I understand that's rather colorful.
Certainly. The Coast Guard was established in 1790 under Alexander Hamilton, the first treasurer of the United States. At that time, their function was to protect the revenues of the United States, or the colonies, I should say, from smugglers. We've evolved through the rum running days, and in the early 1900s, we've merged with the Life-Saving Service, Lighthouse Service, and the Revenue Cutter Service to the present-day Coast Guard. We're 37,000 men strong, men and women. Our current missions range from marine environmental protection, law enforcement, recreational boating safety, search and rescue, aids to navigation, ice breaking, and there's several others. The one least known about the Coast Guard is we are an armed forces of the United States, and we've served in all wars, including starting with the French-American War. The Coast Guard cutter Harriet Lane fired the first shot of the Civil War.
Ah, that's interesting.
A lot of things that people just,
You mean the first naval shot?
The first naval shot.
Mm-hmm. To clarify that, I think there's something about Fort Sumter or something.
That's right. And as a result, I believe we're the oldest continuous naval service in the United States. And we're the primary maritime enforcement authority.
What portion of your time would you say is spent rescuing boaters and catering to that aspect of all of your chores?
Well, search and rescue usually takes precedence when it happens, and regardless of whether we're on an enforcement patrol or other duties, we drop what we're doing, obviously, and that comes first, and that usually takes up 50% of our time.
What always amazes me is, and I think you might agree, when you're called out on the most amount of rescues, everything happens all at once. It's usually a bad weather day, such as Memorial Day past, and everyone needs help at the same time. And what really amazes me is that you guys would go out there in the worst of weather and actually rescue other people and do it consistently and successfully. Is this attributed to your maintenance program that you have for the boats?
Yeah, it's attributed to training and maintenance. Without a strict preventative maintenance program, your equipment would not function when you need it to function as often as you need it to function. And as an end result, the people that need help wouldn't get help.
Well, say that I'm a private boater, right? I would like to use the same system that you use to keep your boats up in top-notch shape. And yet, let's look at it from a standpoint of a person that's never had a boat before. They just bought a power sailboat. Where can they go and develop a program like that? And what should they do?
I think there's several areas that they can research. The first thing that they might want to start with is their owner-user manual. That's a good beginning.
Oh, pardon?
Their operator's manual is certainly a good beginning, and I'm sure that they're going to need other information, though. Other good sources through education courses, they often touch on preventative maintenance programs. Good source of information are other experienced boaters, as well as local marine dealers.
I would imagine a good starting place might be, and not like in searching for an attorney or a doctor, perhaps you don't want to go to only one. Go to 3 or 4 or 5 boat yards and ask them for what they have in the way of a preventative maintenance program.
That's right.
Talk to 10 or 20 or 100 boaters.
Sure.
Go to the Coast Guard and the different area, places, and actually talk to them. Do you have MRC cards, maintenance requirement cards?
Yes, we do. We have a similar system. We call it, MRC cards or PMS cards, we call them, preventative maintenance service.
Right. Which shows the date and what should be looked at and done.
How to do it, what's to be done, and how often.
How much time it takes.
And we've got reports that we have to send in because the boss makes sure that they're done. And it's a Coast Guard-wide system.
Well, I believe we could probably make a lot of the boaters out there that do get into trouble eliminate that probably with good maintenance programs and, of course, the training and education.
Of the 60,000 or more calls a year that we respond to for assistance, over 55% of those are for disabled vessels.
I see. What would you say the most common occurrence is? Do people need a tow, or what would it be?
Right.
Injury?
Of the calls that we get, over 55% are for boats 16 foot to 25 foot. Of those, some 57% to 67% are disabled for one reason or another and require a tow. And that's generally the bulk of our caseload.
Let's look at that under a little microscope here. The disabled boats, are they out of gas? Did the engine fail due to improper maintenance?
There is a percentage that do run out of gas, which is shouldn't normally happen. To the experienced boater, somebody that takes the extra few minutes to check his equipment in his boat over before he goes on a trip, that really shouldn't be a problem. But however, it does occur, and with the boat, it's not like your automobile. When you run out of gas, you can pull to the side of the road, walk down to the gas station. That you don't have that convenience.
Of course,
on the
if they have an inflatable blown up with an engine, it might help.
That may mean the difference in unfortunate circumstances.
Right. But again, as you know, transferring fuel out at sea, especially in rough seas, could be hard.